Okay, I'm going to make this video very short and sweet. Chinese market tanks after China's 1.4 trillion stimulus plan went wrong. Of course it did. When you actually you ramp up production and you have to build facilities and finance them. Plus, you have all these men in the country of China that need to impress a woman, so they need a lot of real estate and a lot of money. They're going to buy frivolous stuff like condos and apartment buildings in the ghost cities that we talked about. Remember that? So they need to do that because they need a woman, and they can't get a woman because they are pretty much don't have enough women. China and India, actually. But they overbuilt the factories. The production ramped up, and it takes a lot of money you have to borrow to do a production facility. And the production facility itself doesn't get paid off too fast because when you sell a product, you're not making a lot as the actual producer of it. The middlemen make the money. They mark it up after they get it over here to the U.S. So they're making like a 1 to 3% profit at the most, just like a grocery store. And that has slowed down with the COVID thing, that where people, they couldn't go to work, they weren't making a lot of money, they couldn't buy a lot of products. They were buying products at first, but when the money ran out in the U.S., you now see a massive credit card debt in the United States, as well as in China. And Japan's not doing much better. They just turned in a bunch of bonds, and that was a realized loss of income when they turned those bonds in, but they had no choice because they needed the fluidity of the money. Anyways, this guy Steven over here, he's going, oh crapola. China just did what? Terrifying, developing. China spells disaster. Of course it does. China just did that 1.3 trillion or whatever it is stimulus, and they tried to stimulate their economy because they got kids that are out of college that can't get a job. That's right, because they're not moving products. Why they're not moving products? Well, some people speculate that they're getting ready for a war economy. No, the same thing happened in the 1980s to the 1990s in Japan. The U.S. exported all their jobs overseas to all these foreign countries to get the cheaper products. I remember when a 19-inch TV used to be over $300. And then when they started exporting all jobs over to Japan, you started seeing TVs for a lot less. But the problem is that when the consumer over here in the United States and countries like us cannot afford to buy those products anymore. Of course, they did it during COVID at the beginning, but now a lot of people, they can't afford to go out and buy something new. They're hurting because of the policies of the former administration. That's all there really is to it. The former administration just tanked the economy in the United States. People are just trying to buy food because they got the food's not, it's not cheap anymore. I mean, used to be able to buy a dozen eggs for 99 cents. Now they're like $6.35 here where I live. And it's not just because of the woohoo flu. It's because of something else. It's because of the way the policies were done in the former administration. Now we're going to talk about tariffs. You see that the current administration is going to put a lot of tariffs on all these countries. Well, that's to bring back jobs to the United States. It's very simple. If it costs more to produce it overseas instead of here, you produce more jobs here. When you produce more jobs here, you produce more revenue and more people can get a job and make a living. Of course, it does start with a short-term inflation, but that also happens when you do one of these stimulus like China did. They're going to have to pay those people more to get them to work, but they're not going to be able to afford it. So what did Japan do? I'm going to reference this to right here. The Japanese asset bubble was an economic bubble in Japan from 1986 to 1991 in which real estate and stock market prices were greatly inflated. In the early 1992, the price bubble burst and the country's economy stagnated. Yeah, because they overbuilt, and then we couldn't afford stuff here in the U.S., so nobody was buying our crap. And what happened was is that those TVs they were building for a little bit cheaper than what was made in the U.S., well, they had a bunch of inventory that's sitting around. They had no money flow. They had a great debt on their system where nothing was moving out the door. They had to sell everything at a loss to us. So we were getting $100 TVs back then, 19-inch TVs, instead of $300 or $200, $100 cheaper than what you could build it for in the U.S. The same thing that happened in Japan is happening to China again. And with these tariffs that are going to be in place, yes, I expect the employment to increase across the country. I increased a little bit more money. After about 6 months to a year, we'll start seeing the full effect. But we're also going to see problems with the stock market. I'm not going to buy any Chinese stocks unless I'm going to do a short-term day trade. And when you do your day trades, or any trade at all, unless you're long and you don't care about if it's a if it's a long-term trade and you're just looking for dividends, you don't really need to do this. But in my opinion, and that's not financial advice, and I'm a fiduciary. But if you're going to buy a stock for like I do, like when I day trade, I'm going to buy a stock for like $10. Then the minute I buy it, I'm going to put in a stop on that, on a sell stop. So you're going to sell the stock. I'm going to choose stop, and I'm going to put it like 10 or 20 cents or 30 cents below what I paid for it. So if I did something for like $10, I'm going to put a 9.80 or $9.08, $9.07, or $9.06, whatever I'm willing to lose. Because stock can go down real quick, faster than it can go up most of the time. But if I'm looking at a stock pattern, I think I can make a few bucks off of it on a day trade and scalping it off, that's what you need to do. So to keep from losing a lot of money, because if you buy a stock and says you think it's going to go up and all of a sudden it just plummets like 50%, what's going to stop you from losing 50%? You know what? If you buy like 100 shares on a small stock like $10, okay, so say you spend $1,000 and every penny is going to be $1, okay? So if you lose a penny, you're going to lose $1. If you lose 2 pennies, you're going to lose $2. If you lose 10 pennies, you're going to lose $10. Be very careful and use your stop losses on your stocks when you're trading, especially even if you're swing trading. You got a certain risk where you're willing to lose a little bit of money instead of losing it all. Anyways, so Japan went broke. They sell all the stuff to us as fast as they could just to liquidate it, to try to recover some of the revenue. And this is kind of like a pattern of the stock market back in the 1980s to 1990s. It wasn't a good picture for the Japanese, and it ain't going to be a good picture for the Chinese. Is it going to be a good picture for you? Well, I would have a lot of liquidity, and I wouldn't actually, in my opinion, I'm just playing day trading and some swing trades that I know that are going to be really solid. As far as long-term dividends, I have a bunch of them. Those don't really change. But you can also, on those long-term ones, I like to play options. I like to do a call or a put. If I think the stock's going to go up, I'll do a call contract. Or if I think it's going to go down, I'll do a put. But I'll still retain the stock and still get my dividend. And that's one of the most important things you can do is manage your money. But, you watch people like Warren Buffett. Where's he buying and selling? Where's the Pelosi's buying and selling at? If I listen to Jim Cramer, I'll probably lose money like I did when I really started trading stock back in 2005. I was an investor in 1998, but 2005 is when I really started to trade stock a little bit, and part-time, full-time sometimes. And when I listened to Cramer, I lost money for the first 2 years, to be honest with you. I don't listen to the guy. The only thing I listened to him about is how I'm not going to play a stock. Sometimes I'll do the exact opposite. But that's, you know, I have no idea why he's not in jail for insider trading, but it's not my problem. But we're going to see an asset bubble in China just like we did in Japan from the 1986 to 1991. And you're going to see a lot of stuff collapse. It's going to be a bargain for buying. And China has got too much products, too much infrastructure that they can't pay for. Plus, they got the individual investments in real estate that nobody's buying, nobody wants. Does it sound familiar? We got a bunch of empty malls now in the United States where nobody wants to set up a brick and mortar store because the cost is forbearance on it. It makes more sense to put up an online store. Oh yeah, well okay. Let's do this too. Since I'm here, I'll send you over to Hun's soap store. So she makes homemade goat milk soap. It's called Grumpy Monkey Soap.com. That's two S's in there. So you got Grumpy Monkey with an S. Grumpy Monkeys Soap.com. And you can see she has different varieties of soaps and everything else. And in fact, she's having a little problem with her house. You know, you might want to help her out over here and give her a donation. You don't have to buy soap, but actually, if you buy the soap, and she's got colloidal silver, and she's got magnesium bath towels and stuff like that, and people just love the soap. It's homemade goat milk soap and everything else. Anyways, thanks for watching, and keep an eye on the stock market because it's going to get a little bit dicey with all these tariffs, and we got policies coming in back and forth. So be very careful how you invest your money, but also realize that we're looking at another Japanese asset bubble price collapse. But this time it's going to be in China. Thanks for watching.